Peace. Happen now. Now's the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Right now, we dealing with, remembering who we are, What am I? Who am I? Why would I want to come to this prison planet? How did I get tricked into being in this prison planet? Is it a prison planet? What's going on here? But, just speaking to the aspect of, because matter of fact, I did a video connecting with that, which I'll post. It's going to be like a 3-part video. I already did 2 parts of it, dealing with, something was telling me to speak on how, the archons that work with Enlil, aka Enlil, and again, for whatever the literature, whether you want to call it Enlil, the devil, Yaldabaoth, Yahweh, whatever, the being that's over this physical matrix, that created this physical matrix and created some of the archons, or these earth angels, to basically like the Anunnaki, like these overseers, But I had to speak on that vibe of them possibly staging this, return, as if like, well, hey, the gods have come back to save us. Realizing that, again, the gods that are back to save us, go look in the mirror and you will see that Nephilim, that giant, that God that has returned. When you look in the mirror, just make sure when you're looking in the mirror, you don't have any doubt or fear. Because if you have doubt and fear when you look in the mirror, then you're not looking at that God that has returned. You're looking at the identity. You're looking at the identity that the God within you has, or should I say, you're looking at the identity that the God think it is, because it has forgotten who it truly is. But, right now it's very important for us to, dig deeper into knowing, our reasons for being here. But, want to speak to like dealing with our vices, like the things that, we find ourselves in a loop with right now. So like if, being too nice, say for instance, is one of my little things to work on, being, being somebody who's scared to receive things from somebody, is an energy, like not feeling worthy and lacking confidence, those energies, that constantly show themselves to hinder us. But they coming up more and more right now, in essence, and it all depends because we're on different levels of our growth, but these energies, this contrast, these things that we are trying to grow away from, it's plaguing us to show us and remind us, like basically it's showing us like, hey, these are the things that kept you tied to this earthly plane last go around. Because what these times is about, the Kali Yuga, the paradigm shift, it comes once in a time where the density of the 3D realm lightens up and allows for us to really, really, truly know and feel who we are. Because, with all this, the dense energies, because say for instance, like, and think about how different it feels from now, say for instance, back in the day, like, where at one time, our goals and our things we wanted to achieve seemed so far-fetched, like because, we were stuck into this paradigm of like, and which of course not all the way stuck into it, because some of us, being star seeds, indigos, whatever, well, even as little kids, even though the world was lying to us, we knew like, all right, there's more to this shit than being a human. But for the most part, even with us knowing that, though, we still kind of was, being eluded to, like we were alluding to you know, again, our limitations as a human, you know, even with that little voice in the back of our head telling us we were more. But you see the difference in back then and then now, where, you know, you could just really, really feel, you know, a certain level of connection and confidence. You know, you could feel that limitless in our vibration. You know, and in these days, it's kind of like a paradox in essence, because it's like, even though the energy is less dense and moving to a place where we can ascend, the dense energies though are grabbing just as hard at us right now, because they know they're about to die. You know, those energies, the old procrastinating us, the old want to smoke weed all day and not take care of business part of us, the old I want to be nice to everybody so I don't want to speak the truth part of us, like all that's going out the window. But whenever we trying to hold on to these thought forms and, you know, ways of being, these old habits that no longer serve us, then we're gonna feel negative and feel, you know, bad and feel like, oh man, will I ascend or will I not? You know, if you're feeling like, you know, like that vibe of like as if the ascension train gonna pass you up, it's because, you know, you're within those energies of the things that no longer serve you. You're you know, interfacing with those energies that in essence it is going to be an end of the world for, you know, in essence, you know, as we continuously grow. But, you know, our vices in essence points to all the things that our soul, you know, constantly reincarnating. You know, our soul had things that it fell in love with this realm over time. You know, it may have fell in love with the aspect of, you know, hey, these are my relatives, this my mom, this my dad, this my cousin, you know, when in all actuality, you know, again, on a bigger picture, we all you know, different, you know, souls from that higher spark. We all souls from that higher spark of source, you know, on a human experience. And, you know, our quote unquote relatives is not necessarily our relatives in that essence. Of course, you know, in a bigger picture, energetically connected, but, you know, these little roles we play as humans, you know, are exactly that. You know, and right now, what's being shown to us is all those habits, all those things, you know, that hindered us from making this transition last time. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a time that came around before where, you know, we end up staying on this plane of existence due to holding on to some of these things that the universe is showing us right now that is holding us back. You know, like say for instance, having a vibe of feeling like it's us against them. Like, so if we get lost in the illusion of trying to fight the government and forgetting that this is a, you know, a esoteric battle and not an exoteric battle, in so many words, meaning like this is an inner battle and not external. You know, as you start dealing with the energies within yourself, your actions is gonna fall in place with dealing with, you know, removing these energies externally from this world. So it's not about worrying and trying to chase nobody outside your body. It's about doing the works internally. But again, you know, some of us were those type of quote unquote freedom fighters, or people who, you know, would get lost in the sauce, in so many words, you know, of like trying to, you know, go up against somebody when, you know, forgetting, like, you know, going up against ourselves in essence. You know, these quote unquote oppressors are what we may call what some may call Illuminati and all this. This is something we set up, you know, ourselves. We, you know, we agreed upon dealing with this energy, this contrast, you know, that's pressure to make a diamond. You know what I'm saying? It's a part of the experience. You know, because if you think about, again, what would be our existence, our experience, if, everything came to us easy, and you know, everybody had all the knowledge of all that is. You know, that's almost like if you had all the knowledge of, every book and every movie, then you wouldn't even have a pastime in this, or anything to necessarily do. Of course, there's more things to watch movies and read books, but I use something that's on a broad scale that no matter if you consider yourself spiritual or whatever, most of us gonna at least read a book or watch a movie. You know what I'm saying? But, if we know and connected with all that is, then it's like, oh, I know the ends to all the movies. I know what every book about. So what is there to do? Like, that's the part of the experience, the contrast, the difference, is the fact that, what allows for the experience, of the body. Say, for instance, again, the stomach has a certain operation, does something different from the liver. The liver has a certain operation, Our inside's not just one block of just, glob of, I don't know, matter in essence, It's all different aspects with different uniqueness, but a part of the one whole, embracing its uniqueness, but at the same time not letting its uniqueness disrupt the symbiotic relationship, maintaining life in essence, But right now realizing, a lot of these different vices, it's time to again, letting go, or for the most part, not letting our vices control us. And again, when I say vices, that's just for a broad, statement in essence, because also just anything that is hindering towards our, our soul ascension. Like, we all know the type of habits and thought forms and things that we do that constantly keep us in doubt, that constantly, have us doing the same thing every day instead of growing. Like, we know what those things is. We know what we gotta stop doing, But yeah, it's definitely reflecting on that aspect where, again, what we dealing with are the things that constantly been holding us in this matrix, It's like clockwork, Like some of us, matter of fact, and again, just for the actuality of it, quote unquote melanated people, how you keep getting tricked into coming back in this matrix, because you're just so heartfelt and so, oh, I'm a melanated black person, I am ancient indigenous to this land, and so the reason why some people with them strong culture ties find it hard to step into a place of letting go of identity, or letting go of and again, we do keep a healthy level of ego, but it's a level of identification where, you forget that you are a source on a human experience, because again, and there's a difference from knowing it on a subconscious level and just saying it on a conscious level. Like, somebody could say, oh man, I ain't scared of crawfish, man, crawfish don't scare me. But then when you hold a crawfish in their face, they're like, oh shit, get that shit out of my face. Realizing that they really are afraid of crawfish, no matter what their conscious mouth may say. So consciously you may say, oh yeah, I know I'm God on a human experience, but subconsciously, you don't believe it or know it, I should say. You don't know it on that level. And I done spoke to different aspects of that, like, of how you work on knowing that you are a source, from being in alignment with the moment, meditating, getting out the mind, and that eating healthy. Like, as we start to clean up on these spiritual levels, we start to find more synchronicity and more of a connection. And as we build those connections and synchronicity, it creates evidence to the subconscious mind of like, hey, as I'm being healthy, as I'm working on myself, like I'm actually seeing a change. Like I'm actually picking up on people's thoughts. Like I was, now I'm constantly about to say what somebody else was about to say since I've been working on myself. Now I have I wake up early, even if I went to sleep late. I have energy now. You know what I'm saying? Like you get to see as you gradually work on yourself, you start getting evidence of that work, and that goes into the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind does not unsee anything. So it's like, as long as you're doing the work, then the subconscious mind is like, well, hey, I see the evidence, I see the synchronicity, so we must be some type of connected to something higher, you know what I'm saying? But it's just remembering, that we are, source, for the most part, that primordial aspect of source on a human experience. And we've been on this experience for so long, we forgot who we truly are. And again, somebody used a good analogy, like Shawshank Redemption. If you ever watched that movie, Shawshank Redemption, good movie. You think about what's the brethren name? They had the librarian. They had a librarian in the jailhouse, and he was an older brethren, and basically, he got released from jail. And everybody like, oh man, you finally got released. That's a good thing. But basically, he went out there into the realm, into the quote unquote real world from that perspective, and he couldn't deal with it because he was so used to being locked up and not realizing, like, shit, he would rather be locked up, because again, he lost his identity, and honestly, that aspect of Shawshank Redemption is almost pointing directly to our experience in this physical matrix. Because here it is, if you locked up in this physical matrix for so long, you're so used to playing all these different parts in this movie, then you gonna forget that, hey, I'm just been acting in these movies, but I'm not actually these characters that I'm acting as. You get locked into that, and you get so used to being on lockdown that all you know is being on lockdown. And for the most part, that's what some of us experiencing with the stubbornness that we are dealing with on our growth, where we constantly know what we gotta do and work towards it, but it's always an energy just constantly trying to strongly grab on the coattails right now, because again, our lower vibrational self, our egoic mind, that separate, that dualistic way of seeing and thinking, is trying to survive, and they see that, like it sees death around the corner, literally and figuratively speaking. So it's gonna be fighting for its life. Always use the analogy, which nothing is necessarily backing our lower nature into a corner, but the way it sees it is backed into a corner, because it's like, got all these high vibrations popping off, this and that. It's like, oh no, like, bro, they're trying to take me out, and that's why too you start to see, and I spoke on this before, like where the ego, from the aspect of, again, the egoic mind, our lower nature, not the ego itself generally, but that egoic mind, and that that thought form of separation, what I was gonna say, or the egoic mind, like a disease, where you start to see too, where the people who we love, the people who we know love us in essence, may do things that jeopardize our soul ascension, like may try to, say for instance, see us eating healthy and try to offer something that's not too healthy, or things of this nature. And and again, I tell people, it's not to look at our relatives, friends, or family as like, oh, they being evil, or being trying to, again, it's an energy, it's that 3D low vibrational form of ourself that identifies with this matrix. It's basically like that aspect that vibration that that done flowed through all of us, because we done been in this matrix, for a long time for the most part. That energy, matter of fact, even down to the point of, like, as I'm speaking right now and people singing and throwing off my what I'm saying, like, that's a perfect example of it right there. Like, it knows I'm speaking about it in that video, so it's kind of like, all right, let me move through somebody else to try to throw off what he's saying. Literally. But that's how that energy moves. So it's basically like, as we're transmuting and keeping that energy from ruling our selves internally, is going to try to kind of still poke at us externally through that lower vibrational 3D energy within somebody else, because again, we all have dealt with being in this matrix, and have, like, in some way, form, or fashion, you know these past identifications with this realm that's trying to again hold us in this realm. But realizing, again, it's one of those vibes where now or never. But I ain't gonna say now or never. I'll just say, now, or it's only gonna get harder from here. Let's just say it like that, now, or hey, again, it's almost like a little window open, like picture, you get into a little place, and then it peaks, it gets to this little high point, how they said, the crescendo, if I'm saying that right, and then it starts to go back down into, when it gets right here, that's why we have that vibe of feeling good and feel like all right, we made it, like that's what kind of give us that vibe of we made it, whenever we was in the that crescendo of that energy, just highly being in support. And not saying that this window is closing, like opening and just closing all, like, we this is we in a times where this vibration is constantly raising. But what I'm saying is, as that window has opened, as it continues to open, the more that we are still flirting with our old self and lower vibrational self, the stronger its influence can be on us, and that's in essence, like, that, I ain't gonna say that definition of losing our soul, but to a certain extent, letting our the egoic, low vibrational 3D identification, like, letting that energy try to prevent us from ascending, and that's why there's something in us that's constantly trying to make us doubt, constantly trying to make us fear. And again, this fear and doubt is looking for any place. So, like, like, well, you might feel like, well, damn, I never feared that or doubted that energy. But, it's basically because you done check that fear and doubt in certain areas, But that, again, that lower nature is like, it's trying to survive somehow. And I'm using, again, lower nature for lack of a better word. But, it's low vibratory, egoic mind identifying state is looking for a way to survive, So as you clean it out of one area, it's gonna try to sneakily find its way to doubt and be fearful in another area, Here it is, where, again, like, that it's about the inner work and not to worry about the government and this and that, and you've been working on all that, then all of a sudden, as you start to kind of look up, feel like your energy leaning towards trying to be fearful towards the government or something, what I'm saying? It's like, oh shit, like, damn, it's like this energy is fighting to stay alive, literally, and that's what we going through strongly right now, is realizing to let go of those, those hindering thought forms, ways of doing things, just that old self that's scared to grow, that egoic mind that just loves the comfort zone. It loves seeing the same thing and doing the same thing all day, every day. no change. And we are beings, that constantly evolve. We are, again, source on the human experience, and source energy is, constantly evolving in essence. It's not staying stuck in one form or way of being, in essence. We just passing through this little physical matrix, that enlil, and matter of fact, which I did a video earlier and I kind of had forgotten, kind of got confused with the little names for a second, with Enki and Enlil, forgetting which one was the one that's trying to control us, which one was actually trying to help, which Enki is the energy of, again, what some people call the Anunnaki, but I'm not even gonna get deep into that. I did a long video already, so I'm gonna drop that, of course. But I'm just gonna digress on that aspect of, again, just making sure we're doing the best to be our greatest version. Like for myself, like one of my little areas is like making sure I don't eat late at night, because it gets like a crackhead itch. Like literally, you know what I'm saying? And I watched it get worse over time. Like it was never, like that. Even down to the point where I had to watch it and just see, like, cause me sometimes that's how I consort with my inner source. Sometimes I'm like, so, just to see it, I'm asking. So I'm like, Source, since we so powerful, I'm like, damn, this shit, like, gonna overpower my God energy in essence. Like, cause sometimes I'm, and that's another thing. Stubbornness on my growth is another reason why I got left here on this plane of existence before. Like, well, because source energy didn't line up with logical reasoning in essence in areas, or like, well, I felt like, all right, source, you tripping in this area, almost like that Lucifer energy, you know what I'm saying, being connected to that Lucifer energy, no coincidence that, again, the Capricorn energy tied to that. Not to get in that zodiac sign stuff either, but that energy is one of the reasons why my ass got left before, because I was doing shit like, say for instance, so again, like, well, I'm seeing, and I know that I shouldn't be eating unhealthy and and late at night, but I just have these points sometimes where I just look at my higher self, like, like, really, like, we all so power, so mighty, but like this itch to go eat sweets is like this bad, like, and I had that fuck it moment of like, well, fuck it then, if the almighty source within me that's so mighty can't stop me from eating a honey bun, and it's honey buns for me right now late at night, you know what I'm saying? And I catch that vibe of like, all right, you can play if you want. You know better though, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, I know. Sometimes you get frustrated on the growth, because, again, that feeling like, and I done spoke on that before, like knowing that I am, like frustration with knowing that you are God, but not being able to use your almighty power to the fullest, But again, that's part back again. We down here on this experience. It wasn't for us in this 3D realm to to embody the fullness of source, within, because then it wouldn't even be no human experience if we was all walking around with the energy of source just fully blasting out of us. Then this wouldn't even be an earthly plane. This would be wherever we from, because our energy would overwhelm the physicality of this realm, you know what I'm saying? But like I spoke on that in some of my older videos, like when I first started off, like I remember as a little kid, whenever I couldn't like do something, like it was like somewhere, if I tried to do something and something flowed just a little bit off. I'm trying to think, like, say if I was swinging a shoestring, and I felt like I'm trying to, or like if I'm picking up my shoe and I'm trying to do it without it falling or something like that, and I just get frustrated. I'm like, bruh, at some point in time, I had the power to fucking grab these shoes with my mind. Like, why the fuck I gotta struggle picking up these shoes? You know what I'm saying? Like, I done had those moments. Like, basically, I call it like a temper tantrum. It's like, fuck, I know I'm greater than this and could do things better. But again, like, but it is what it is. As far as like, yeah, you know, I know, but I'm obviously here, you know, within this realm of reality in this format, you know, not able to just kind of call upon that energy at its highest level because it would take away from me learning and having this experience on a physical level. So, you know, it's just seeing and I, you know, I had to step out of that stubbornness and see, you know, again, I get them little whispers like, hey, that's why your ass got left here last time. You know, so just long story short, you know, we dealing with transmuting these energies that have been constantly hindering us throughout lifetimes, you know, constantly hindering us, trying to keep us here. You know, so let go of the, you know, work on the vices that need to be worked on. Let go of the vices that need to be let go. All the habits and thought forms that no longer serve. You know, just ways of doing things that hinder our soul growth. You know, it's time to throw it out the window. You know, but that's all I have to say about that. Peace. Happy now. Now is the vibrative course. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now.